So now let's talk about finding expected value and standard deviation using Stapplet. So with this, let's go through the steps of what we did in the previous question and how to answer those questions using Stapplet. So let's go ahead and follow these steps here. So first thing we're going to do is go to stapplet.com. And then we're going to go down to probability and select discrete random variables. With this, we can input a variable name. So let's go with cups of coffee sold. And then we can create our table. So it's going to start off with 2 rows here. So we want to add the number of rows for how many outcomes we have. So with the cups of coffee, we had 5 possible outcomes. So I'm going to make sure we have 5 rows here. And then for our values, that's going to be X, which is our random variable. And we had a 30, 36, 42, 48, and 60. And then for probability, we need to plug in a decimal from 0 to 1. So we're going to have a 0.05, 0.2, 0.25, 0.15, and a 0.35, and just making sure that our table matches the one that was printed on our paper. And after we plug everything in, then we can go ahead and begin analysis. So we can still see our table up here, and then we have a graph distribution here. So what this is showing is the different probabilities for the different outcomes. So we have P of X equals 30, and it's showing that 5%. So if you hover your mouse over, you can still see those probabilities, and I'll change it to percentage form for you. So you can see those possible outcomes, but what we're really using Stapplet for is getting the mean and standard deviation out. And it shows up right there. So the key piece is making sure we plug in the table correctly, and then you can just grab the mean and standard deviation and make a sentence out of that. One thing to notice is that it does not provide variance. So if a question asks you about variance and all we're seeing is this output, then just know that to find variance, you need to square standard deviation. So in this case, what we would do is take that 10.2 and square it, and that should get us back to that 104.04. But that's really the only piece that's missing from the output, but not too difficult to get back to it. So for our class, feel free to use this for calculating mean and standard deviation. Just pay attention to any cases on the worksheets or written assignment where I might ask for the steps by hand, and then you have to go the long route. But everywhere else, you are welcome to just plug into Stapplet and get those values.